All right, we've got a couple of cool things to talk about, a few more. The first one we're going to look at is a solar-powered calculator. So if you don't have one at home, that's totally fine. I'm going to get up there so you can see it close in just a second. But solar-powered calculator, where do you think a solar-powered calculator is going to get its energy from? If it's a solar-powered calculator, you see this little deal right up here? That's the solar panel in there. And these solar-powered calculators get their energy from the sun or light. So we start, our energy source is going to be the sun or the lights, whatever's happening in the room that you're in, okay? So that's our energy source. The type of energy is radiant energy. So a solar-powered calculator is going to have either light from the sun or light from the lights in your room to work. That's radiant energy, okay? The energy receiver is going to be the solar-powered calculator. Okay, that's pretty easy. Well, what type of energy transformations do we see happening in a solar-powered calculator? Okay, well, we already said we started with radiant energy. So we have radiant energy, and it gets turned into what in here? What do you think? Okay, I'm not sure. What do you think? Well, that solar energy is turned into, that radiant energy or solar power is turned into electricity in here. That's the whole point in having a solar panel, is to turn light into electricity. I'm not sure exactly how that happens, but it's super cool. So, but now we have electricity in here, and what happens after that? Well, let me get closer here, okay? It may sound kind of weird, but see that right there? I know it's dark, but those numbers that you see, that's actually lights that are being lit up from the energy in this calculator. So we started with the sunlight, or radiant energy. The calculator absorbed it in the solar panel here, that light energy, turned it into electricity, and then now we see the light energy back again in the form of these numbers. Kind of cool, right? Okay, that's a solar-powered calculator. We kind of went over the evidence there too, and I showed you the evidence that all these things happened is the fact that the numbers show up right here, okay? All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is crumpling paper. So, if I have a piece of paper and I'm going to crumple it up, where's the energy that I get to do this? Where's my source of energy? Well, the energy source for this is going to be me, because I'm going to be the one doing the crumpling of the paper, right? So our energy source here is me, or even more specifically, the food that I eat. So I've already had lunch today. I had a Lunchable. So my source of energy right now is going to be my Lunchable, okay? So my food would be the source. What type of energy is the food that I eat? Well, the food I eat is chemical energy, same as everybody else, okay? You get all your energy from the food that you eat. So food, chemical energy, it's the energy stored in the bonds of that food. That's where the source comes from for crumpling paper, okay? So I start with chemical energy. I now have energy to move around. I'm going to go ahead and crumple my paper, okay? Well, what type of energy was that when I crumpled the paper? If you said mechanical, you're exactly right. I turned my chemical energy into mechanical energy that I could use to crumple this paper. Let me get a little closer, hopefully. Could you guys hear that? Okay, it's not very loud, but I can definitely hear this paper crumpling up. So we have mechanical energy. I crumpled the paper up, okay? And then the sound energy, because I could hear the noise of the paper being crumpled. The energy we have for that, the evidence we have that those energy transformations happened is because we can look at the ball. We can see it move, and we can hear it whenever it's crinkling around, okay? So we started with chemical energy from the food that I eat, transferred to mechanical energy, and sound energy for the crumpled paper. The next one we have is my favorite one. So I'm going to scoot you a little bit closer here because I want you to see really good what's happening, okay? You guys check this out right here for just a second while I plug my stuff back in. And what's going on there is, that's my paper spiral. I have a lamp sitting underneath my paper spiral. And can you see how this is kind of moving around? So there's no air blowing on there. There's nothing to cause that to happen, air-wise. What's going on is the heat from this lamp is causing this thing to kind of move around. Pretty cool, right? Okay, well, let's talk about it. This is the system that we have. We've got a lamp. It's plugged into the wall. Where would the energy source be for this paper spiral? Well, the energy source is this electrical outlet right here. So that's what I would say for the source of energy for the paper spiral, okay? The electrical outlet. What type of energy comes out of electrical outlet? Why, electricity, of course, okay? So our original type of energy comes from the outlet and the wall. It's electricity. So we start with electricity. What's going to receive the energy in this paper spiral right here is receiving that energy, okay? What type of energy transformations are happening with this paper spiral, okay? So we start with electrical energy. We know that because we're plugged into the wall. And we already talked about a lamp, so we know what happens with the lamp too. The lamp is giving off light. We know that because we can see it, okay? It's also giving off heat, and I know that because I can feel it against my hand. I'm not touching the spiral, I'm just putting my hand close to it, okay? And then, what else is happening here? We've got something mechanical going on because this thing is moving around with the heat. I'm kind of messing with it now, but you saw it whenever we first started. It was kind of spinning around a little bit. So, with this paper spiral, we've got electrical to radiant, the light that's being given off, to thermal, we could feel the heat coming off of it, and then to mechanical, because we can see this thing moving around slowly, kind of a little bit at a time, because I've been messing with it. But, so there's 4 different things that are happening right there. The evidence for this is the fact that we can feel the temperature, we can see the light, and we can see that paper moving. That's the evidence for the paper spiral, okay? The next 2 that we have to talk about are pictures. So let me scoot around here a little bit. The pictures that we have, one of them is of a deer eating, and the other one is of a plant, okay? So let's look at the deer eating. So I'm going to have a picture of this and the questions for this one, okay? So here we've got a deer. He's eating, okay? Where is the deer getting his energy from? Where's the deer getting his energy from? Well, deer get their energy from food just like we do. And we can see he's eating a plant right there, right? Okay, so the deer is getting his energy from the plant. Now we could go further, and we will in just a minute, where the plant gets its energy from. But we're just going to talk about the deer getting its energy from the plant. What type of energy is in a plant for a deer? Well, it's food. So it's going to be chemical energy, okay? What's the receiver in this picture right here of the energy? Well, the receiver is going to be the deer, okay? What type of energy is happening in the picture? So the deer is eating the plant, and then you can see the deer's running. So we start with chemical energy, and then that chemical energy gets transferred into mechanical energy. We can see that because he's running. The evidence for this is just the movement of the deer. We know that's happening. It shows him eating it. That's his chemical. And here's his mechanical energy. Okay? The next picture we had to talk about is a plant. So this looks like the plant that the deer was eating. Here we start out. See, it's kind of small. And here it's kind of bigger. You can see the sun shining on it in both of those pictures. Okay? Well, where does the original source of energy come from for plants? The energy source for plants is the sun. So the sun is what's giving the plants their energy. What type of energy is that? It's radiant energy or light energy. That's what the plants are absorbing. We know the sun does other things, but related to the plant doesn't care that the sun gets hot. And the plant doesn't care that the sun has nuclear fission happening up there. The plant's only taking the sunlight. So it's only taking the radiant energy. Okay, does that kind of make sense? Okay, so the receiver in this picture is the plant. So the source of energy is the sun, the energy receiver is the plant. The energy transformations that we observe here are chemical. Okay, so we start from radiant energy. The plant turns it into chemical energy because of that we talked about the other day, that photosynthesis, and you'll learn a lot more about that in 7th grade. But right now, just know that in a plant, they take solar energy or light energy, okay, that radiant energy from the sun. In their leaves and things, they turn that light energy into energy that they need to grow. So that's a chemical process. Photosynthesis is a chemical process. So that's where the chemical energy comes in. And then here we can see that the plant grew, so that's where it's mechanical. The evidence we see here that these things actually happen is the growth of the plant. So we see the sun, we see the plant, we see that the plant grew. Okay? I wish y'all could be here for this because I would actually let you get your hands on all of these things, but that's okay. You're at home. One day maybe we'll get to have you in class. Y'all are amazing, and I hope this helps understand a little bit more about energy transformations. Remember, if you have any of these questions not answered correctly, go back and fix them. I just gave you all the answers to all of them. Y'all are awesome. We'll see you tomorrow.